Thanks for the long recap. It reminded me of episodes past when I wanted to take a nap. Tell me, what's the deal with Vulcan neuropressure? Well, at least that hot Mako wasn't just a teasing heifer. There was a big fight between Reed and Hayes. If only they could agree on their workouts and days. Then T'Pol warned Trip not to fraternize with a subordinate. So instead, Trip finds T'Pol's carnal coordinates. I'm Josh.
I'm Justin.
And this is From There to Here. This week's episode is called Harbinger. It's episode 15 in season 3, and according to the IMDb, this is what it's about. With Reed and Hayes fighting over a training program and Trip seemingly making T'Pol jealous, Enterprise discovers a dying alien in a pod with technology similar to the Spheres. What do you think this is rated?
I'm gonna say it's rated an 8.0.
I think I may have seen it accidentally. I think it's probably in the high 7s.
Okay.
At least. Ooh, 7.4. That's low.
Is that low?
For this episode, I would say. So what do
I take it you liked it.
I did, but we can get into that. So what do you have for background stuff?
There's not a whole lot. Guest star Thomas Kopachi, who plays the unknown alien, made several previous appearances in Star Trek, including the Enterprise premiere Broken Bow as the Vulcan Toss, who mispronounced the name Klingon.
Oh, he was Tosk?
Toss. Vulcan Toss in Enterprise.
Oh, I thought he was the Toss guy.
No.
Who called O'Brien O'Brien.
No. That's another guy. That's another character actor.
Okay.
No, he's the guy that said a Klingot.
That's from Enterprise, though.
That's from Enterprise.
Right.
And he also portrayed the father of Kira Nerys in 2 episodes of Deep Space Nine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what I said when I read it.
Interesting.
Oh, okay. That's really the main thing. I guess I can note that the story was by Rick Berman and Brandon Braga, and the script by Manny Coda, directed by David Livingston.
By a living person.
By a living person. It started...
Unlike the other episodes.
Well... What I find interesting is that this next bit is included as trivia.
Okay.
It started pre-production immediately after shooting Proving Ground, which of course was the episode that just preceded this.
How fascinating.
Which would seem to be uncommon in television, that you shoot one episode and then you shoot another. Production ran from December 19 to December 1st with a break for Thanksgiving.
How about that?
And...
How about that?
And also, apparently, when they show the alien when he's in that pod, apparently that's not the actual actor in a suit. That's a dummy, but a small version.
Okay.
And it sold at a Christie's auction for almost $4,000.
Oh.
It was known as Pincushion Man.
That sounds like the guy from Hellraiser.
Oh, yeah, Pinhead.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, anyway, that's it. That's all I got.
Okay, well, Harbinger, as you alluded to, I do like this episode a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was probably the best episode I've seen in quite a while out of season 3. I don't remember what the last one was that we really liked. I think, come to think of it, I think we did like last week's episode, Proving Ground.
Yeah, I feel like
that was the one with Shran and
yes.
Oh no, that was the one before that. Stratagem was our previous one.
Oh, that's right.
We liked Proving Ground a lot. Stratagem we thought, I think, was just okay.
Right.
Proving Ground, yes, was very good. This one I felt really tied together a lot of disparate elements and really kind of hit a crescendo. I thought it did a good job. So it was a hodgepodge. It was basically like 3 different storylines going on here. Yeah. And they were all interesting. I mean, the lesser was
alien.
Pincushion Man.
Yeah. Honestly, I could have lost that. And I would have still thoroughly enjoyed the episode.
It just kind of felt like it was sort of interesting. It was played up just enough to where it didn't feel like it was just an excuse to fill in runtime.
Yeah.
Unlike, where you get a lot of that in A and B stories from like TNG, like
Right.
where
Right.
I think it's in the final mission where Wesley's stuck on the planet with Durgo and Captain Picard. And then for some reason, the Enterprise just happens to have to do something in space. I think there's like there's a garbage scout that's leaking radiation and like, we have to stop it before it hits this planet. Of course, they're the only ship in range that can do it. I'm like, that's a crap B story. I don't give a crap.
Right.
But I mean, all of these stories kind of balanced each other out, at least moderately. It was I hate to say thrilling for Enterprise to see some of these things come to fruition a little bit.
No, it was.
Get a payoff after a long buildup. Don't you think so?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the will they, won't they with T'Pol and Trip. Very often when that happens, I'm not talking about the cliche of, the show dies, No, just very often that can happen and it can feel not as rewarding as the buildup. Or
as the constant tease.
Yeah.
Right.
But I did not remember that in this episode they actually get together. I had no memory of that. Physically get together.
Mm-hmm.
And as the episode, when it comes to an end and Trip sits down in the mess hall with T'Pol and starts talking to her, and it's very clear that she's playing coy and kind of playing it down. And I thought, was
she a little too obvious that she was playing coy?
Well, see, I guess that's what I'm getting at. Like at first I thought, I don't remember this. Like, she totally recoils from the whole thing. I was like, is that what they do? Is that what they did? Where she act like it never happened? But then, 30 seconds later, because he's like, say again?
Right.
What? And then it becomes obvious very quickly that you don't necessarily know her motives for playing coy about it, but she's playing. And she kind of lets him in on it at the very end with her last shot when he goes, well, we can still do the neurotherapy anyway. And she gives him the, you're like, oh, okay. I see what they're doing. That she's almost in a way trying to keep it fun, not just give everything,
Well, I don't think that's her motive, not to keep it fun.
Well, no, that may not be her motive. Maybe I shouldn't say that. The show is trying to keep it fun.
For us.
Yes. What her intentions are, I would say, are more, she's just trying to be, she's trying to be chased a little bit,
I don't think she's doing that intentionally either.
You don't think so? What's her motive?
I think her motive at first is she's
protecting herself. Just in case.
She definitely enjoyed what happened, but she doesn't want to admit that to herself. So she's lying to herself. She's being dishonest to herself.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think at this point in the show, she still feels like, not to put a too fine a point on it, she feels like she's better than that. And she doesn't want to admit that this is something she likes and that she even likes Trip to begin with.
Yeah, that's fair.
And
that's fair. I'll give you that.
So that's why she's playing defense right there. She's like, oh no, what do you mean? I just wanted to explore.
I also think part of it is she's just a girl.
That too.
Girls like to play them games.
That too. She wants to see what Trip is made of.
If he's gonna like, is he gonna fight? Is he gonna fight?
Or is he gonna turn tail and run?
Yeah, or is he gonna be like, yeah, it was just that for me. Bye. No, I think there was a lot of things at play there.
And then that leaves us, guys to have to figure it out. It's like, well, does she really want me to go? Or does she want me to, what does she want? Like,
however,
it feels like I lose.
That she knows that we know that she knows.
It's like, I feel like I'm going to lose both ways.
Yeah.
What, like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So to take it back, the only thing I remembered about I remembered two things about this episode. I remembered that Trip has this flirty thing with one of the commandos, and that I did remember going in that Hayes and Reed punch it out in the hallways. Like, I remembered that. Everything else was brand new.
That specifically, that fight.
Yeah.
Because I remember when we
watched it.
Well, you had told me, like, before I watched the episode, I think you were into Enterprise because you had bought the box sets before I'd started watching it. And you're like, well, let me just show you this one scene. Like, it's this cool fight. And it was between Hayes and Reed. It's like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah. And it was a good fight.
Normally Star Trek doesn't do fights very well.
No.
But this felt good.
It felt meaty. You know, they really pounded each other. The makeup was pretty good.
It didn't feel. Star Trek tends to do fights very stagey.
Yeah.
And this felt a little more visceral, a little more like people with actual combat training just kicking the crap out of each other, which was nice.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of reminiscent in a way of the fisticuffs fight between Bond and 006 at the end of GoldenEye when they're at the top of the radar dish, and there's no music. They're just beating the crap out of
England,
each other.
James?
No, for me.
Oh. I see.
Yeah.
Bad guys always fall down a pit of despair or a long fall.
A long fall.
Something
Yeah.
like
It's usually not good guys that do long falls.
Well,
Interesting. Usually
not. Gandalf fell.
Yeah. But he came back. I never understood that. Was he dead and then came back, or did he
I don't know.
die? I don't know.
I felt not well versed on
the second one.
Lord of the Rings.
Anyway, I enjoyed I'll call it the A plot. Not that I think it's necessarily the A plot, but just plot A, with Trip and Sergeant Commander Corporal Cole, whatever.
Mm-hmm. This was kind of a tri-plot, like I said. It was mixing a lot of different things.
Yeah. There was the plot with the two of them, then the plot with, well, really almost four if you think about it. Okay. There was the first plot with Trip and Cole,
right?
Then the alien, then Trip and T'Pol,
right?
Then Malcolm and
Hayes,
RFK.
Hayes, yes, yes, RFK, but otherwise known as Hayes in this series.
Yes. So there's like four things going on.
People are gonna, why do they keep calling him RFK?
I know. We talked about it last time. But when the episode started, correct me if I'm wrong, with him giving her the neuro.
Yes, it did.
Giving her the
Mako,
on her foot, and
who we've never seen before until now.
No, of course not.
It's like, I think I would have remembered seeing
that
a hot Mako.
Yeah,
I don't remember seeing that. I was like,
definitely.
No.
But when it cut to her, at first she was a little stiff, and I thought, oh, all right.
You mean her acting?
Yeah, her acting. Stiff. And I thought, oh man, my memory was, I thought I would enjoy this more. Mm-hmm. But then as the scene progressed, she's kind of being a little more playful. Mm-hmm. And then when it shows them combat training, and she's flirting with him and playing, I was like, okay, I'm liking her now.
Right, right.
I think she found her groove. And
the show's producers were seemed very. Well, I guess they know what audience. Well, I'm not saying they were playing to the right audience, but they knew what they were doing. I mean, they gave her just the right amount of push up in her bosom and accentuated her nipples just enough to where it wasn't pornographic. You're like, oh, okay.
And she was athletic enough to be believable.
She was. She had for a woman, she had broad kind of shoulders.
There was a certain toughness to her.
Not that I.
Oh, she was incredibly attractive.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fine.
I mean, she's not Vasquez, from Aliens.
No.
Hey, Vasquez, has anyone ever mistaked you for a man? No. Have you? Have you ever been mistaken as a man?
No, have you? Yeah.
No, have you?
Yes.
You're supposed to deliver it, man.
I'm sorry. Well, you blew it. So you had to redo it.
No, you're right. Anyway, though, I enjoyed how and actually, honestly, I kind of feel like it was to the episode's credit. Or maybe it was just a fluke. I don't know how well it was designed, but how the plot with the Mako girl phases into the plot with Trip and T'Pol, and she's just kind of forgotten.
Yeah, never see her again.
We never, not even just in the episode. Yeah, we never see her again. There's never us passing them in the halls. It's just that's that. Now this is what's important, and I kind of like that.
Well, there was a moment where this made you laugh, where I suggested that maybe Trip was trying to get the three of them together. It certainly seemed that way. I mean,
hey man, just
maybe
testing the waters.
He kind of like, he backed off when T'Pol kind of rebuffed that suggestion. But then, like, maybe he wasn't consciously aware of what he was doing, but I think he kind of subconsciously.
There was a little part of his
he liked both of them. It's
male
like,
brain that thought, is there any way I can score both?
Yeah, can that happen? Like, it possibly at the same time?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. He's like, if I could come up with a logical argument, maybe this could happen. You know?
Yeah, usually logic doesn't work on women, but I mean, maybe on T'Pol it would, since
yeah. Well, I'm sure that crossed his mind, but then he realized, no, I'm way out of my depth. I can't do this. I'm gonna lose them both. Honestly, the stuff with the alien for me was fine.
It was bringing back the spheres, the Xindi and the spheres, and what that was. He was a part of that in some way, and it really wasn't relevant to following the rest of the storylines. Not really. It was just to give it a little bit of energy and to make the situation a little bit more tense and dire. And it did. I think it did its job well enough.
Yeah, it was clearly a plot device.
Yeah.
And thank goodness they didn't give it more screen time, because it really didn't have any weight.
No.
The only thing I think they could have potentially done better with that element, the alien element of the story, was to possibly, nothing against the actor, but if they could have cast it better or done less makeup even, because that actor has a very fatherly face. You trust him. It might have been better to see more of him, because we would kind of instantly be sympathetic with him. What I'm getting at is maybe finding some way to make that character just a little more interesting,
Mm-hmm.
In what way, I don't know, but like the makeup was so heavy, you can't really connect with him. So, like, I feel like they were hinting that, I don't know why, did they say this in the episode? Did they imply that his character could be going through some sort of transformation?
An implication, maybe.
Okay, yeah, because I don't know why. Whenever I saw his character, my mind kept going to transfigurations.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's kind of like that. His character's like going to the next step. I don't know why.
John Doe.
Yeah, no, seriously, I was reaching. But the point I'm getting at with that is that the John Doe actor,
mm-hmm.
we've talked about this before, and they talk about it. The characters talk about it, how he's very charismatic, and like, dang, you just get sucked in by this guy.
In a very calming way.
In a very calming way. You could make the same, oh my gosh, what's the name of the episode? TNG, where they all lose their memories.
Conundrum.
That guy.
All right.
That guy.
He may soon face a critical moment.
Yeah. I mean, we know that guy's a bad guy,
yes.
but we like him anyway. There's just something about him. Like, I know that's a lot easier said than done. Like, well, just find an actor that has that X factor. But if they had found an actor with a little more of that quality, it might have made that part of the storyline pop a bit more. Just saying.
That would have been interesting. I know this is completely off topic because you brought up Kieran McDuff.
Right.
To talk to that
Commander
actor.
McDuff.
Yeah, to talk to that actor.
It was a Sataran.
Sataran. He's an alien race been at war with the Lysians for decades.
Or hell, man, you know who I'd have hired? I'd have hired Centurion Bakra.
Oh, yeah.
That guy does not get enough work. I love that guy's face.
And I will be your eyes. Yeah, no, he does.
I love that guy.
He was a Masterpiece Society.
Yeah. That guy has such a unique look. Do you remember what we fan casted him as?
No.
In a remake?
No.
You don't?
No.
Long time ago, when we said, if they ever, not that they ever should, but if this is before they did it, if they ever remade The Day the Earth Stood Still,
oh yeah, right,
he should play Klaatu. Like, he looked just like Michael Rene.
He did,
and he had this otherworldly quality.
Yeah.
Like, give me a guy like that. Put him in there.
Not Keanu.
Although
Keanu I like, but not
love
in that
Keanu.
movie.
Nothing against Keanu. It was wrong part for him.
There's a lot of things wrong about that remake. I think Will Smith's kid was one of those wrong parts.
Was the first thing.
Yeah. And then, of course, it had to be a female scientist. Right?
Naturally.
Yeah, there's a lot off on that. Anyway,
yeah, it's bad.
where was I going? I was making a tangent to Kieran McDuff,
Oh, yeah.
to interview that guy,
Oh,
that actor, and ask him what it was like to be on set with the main cast and pretend like you're part of the crew.
Of the cast.
That must have been interesting because they would have, the crew is notorious. The cast is notorious for having a very
laid back
and they're very close.
Yeah, very familial,
very family like.
Yeah.
And then to jump in and pretend you're part of the crew for a week, it must have been kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So anyway, about Harbinger. What exactly is this a harbinger of?
Doom.
But what
impending doom
of the spheres of is it
really
all
sure.
a harbinger for something? I mean,
I don't know. Maybe. Can a harbinger be a good thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I think it's generally used in the negative,
right?
But it can be. I think it just alludes to future events, and so whatever.
Well, then I guess I think you hit the nail on the head. Every subplot of this episode was a harbinger of and boom,
of where it's going to go.
Like they all get a payoff. It's all about the buildup.
Well, this is a harbinger. Is that an allusion, a hint to something that's going to happen?
That's
so
what I'm
whatever
saying.
it is, it hasn't happened yet.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying though. Like this is the payoff to the harbinger of their relationship, the harbinger of the bitter rivalry between.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So like,
okay,
it's the culmination of the harbinger of each of those things.
I see.
Maybe not the best title for the episode. Maybe they should have gone with a screwball comedy.
Unless your application is wrong. Screwball comedy? What?
Like, I feel like the episode in a way like almost has a screwball comedy element to it. Like there's a love triangle.
That part, sure, but I mean
the guys fighting, like, and they're gonna like buddy up in the end. There's almost like a.
What are you gonna call it? His girl Mako? I mean, what? What are you gonna call it?
Yeah, I like it. His girl Mako, the Enterprise story.
The Enterprise story.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. But yeah, no, I really did enjoy how they dissolved one plot line and created another with the sort of romance thing that was developing, but then it shifts over to DePaul. I enjoyed the way they did that, and they did a good. It's cliche, but they did that scene with T'Pol and the Mako girl, where T'Pol is doing some of the therapy on her to try and fix what Trip had done. And
that was fun because I mean, there's layers to that.
That's why it worked.
To that scene,
yeah. Because it could have been done poorly.
At least this is something they were doing well, is they were building up those layers before they got there.
Thank goodness.
And by the time we get there and we get that payoff, it is a payoff because we know what the subtext is. We know what's really going on.
Yeah.
Maybe the female Mako doesn't.
No,
we
she's
do.
the only one that has no idea what's going on.
We certainly know.
I kind of feel bad for her in a way. But yeah, no, I enjoy that. That what could have been when, she's sitting behind her, giving her these like pressure point things.
Right.
And the Mako girl is talking about Trip and how she's come to know him and the loss he had with his sister and where they both came from. They both came from the same place and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. Especially when she started talking about the loss that Trip had experienced and kind of carries with him these days. It would have been very easy to just play that scene as T'Pol being jealous, but to speak to the layers that you talked about, they didn't just do that. Yes, we know that that's an element of the layers, but she's also, as the Mako girl is talking, we're watching T'Pol respond to her, and she's not reacting out of jealousy. She's actually, if you watch her face, she's actually sitting there and you can kind of see the wheels turning. She's going, boy, I know this about him as well. Like we're a lot closer than I realized we are, and she's kind of taking this as a way for like her own realization is starting to emerge that she actually does in fact have feelings for him. And you see it happen. Like she is experiencing jealousy, but she's completely unwilling to face it early on.
Well, I think she knows. She's known how she's felt for a little while.
Okay,
this is just it. It's coming to the surface, and she's actually vocalizing.
Yeah,
it a little bit.
It is coming to the surface. But like I said, that particular scene I enjoy because it's not just played for her jealousy and kind of for the laugh of that. There's a lot going on, and she's not really jealous. Not really. She is, but she isn't.
Okay, I think she.
She
moment. Definitely is.
No. In the moment, the jealousy isn't the dominant thing. That's what I'm trying to say.
In that moment with the Mako,
it started that way, but then it became something else.
Yeah.
For her, and it was that realization of it's coming to the surface, and that she wants to confront this with him, which is what then happens.
Right.
And I enjoyed that. And Blaylock.
Well, like the Taoist Steve says, I don't think you know.
I know what you mean. The movie? Yeah.
Yeah. We pursue that which retreats from us. Right. So now that Trip is retreating a little bit.
Yeah. She's got to chase him.
She's got to chase after him. Yeah. She likes that. Well, she doesn't know she likes it, but she does. Yeah.
Well, so. To Paul. Yeah. First of all, Blaylock did a great job. She played coy very well. Yeah. She did all the little fleeting
great eye
looks.
Acting.
She did it great. Is it Vulcan? I don't know. I can't even critique that, because when the hell have we ever seen a Vulcan really fall for someone outside of Spock, which is so rare? Like maybe they do kind of act more like humans do a little bit. I don't know. I felt she did it within the bounds of her Vulcanness well enough for me not to be pulled out of the moment. We're well aware how I feel when she's trying to fight emotions. And she was able to do it. Normally she comes off constipated, as we know, but this time it didn't read that way. And I really enjoyed how she played it.
It was it was good acting on her part. And I mentioned her eyes in particular, but I think it was a little
on the nose,
a little too much. Like, I think dial it back a few degrees. We know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need it to be telegraphed that much, but it was. But the biggest eye movement came just after she and Trip have that conversation, the morning after, and they're in the mess hall, and he asked her, like, well, he proposes, we can still continue that neuropressure? And she's taking a sip of her Ractigino, whatever the hell it is, and she does this big kind of eye movement. She's like,
I know.
And like, well, we didn't need all that. No, we know.
Did we need it? No. Like, we could have read it with less, but it's the Spielberg shark blowing up the shark moment. He said, if you're with me this far, they want the shark to blow up. And I liked, as the audience, it felt good, and I enjoyed it, know. And it was nice to see that element, that part of T'Pol come out. And so, like I said, it never pulled me out of it. Maybe a little too broad, but not to the point of hurting anything.
Okay. What about Hayes and Reed? I mean, I thought that was really well done. I thought those two guys were great.
Yeah, I thought it was. The only thing I would say is they both are great in this episode. They really are. The only thing I think is that the rivalry between them seems to be more in Reed's head than it is in actual reality. Like, I don't think Hayes has quite the venom for Reed that Reed has for Hayes.
No, I agree with you. At least prior to this, in this episode, Hayes is definitely playing back.
Yes.
I mean, where he intentionally, like, hey, why don't you go first, huh?
Oh, yeah, shot. Yeah. But prior to that, though, I never felt it from Hayes, which always made their thing feel off.
Lopsided. Yeah. No, there was, when the Makos were introduced, there was a bit of tension built into that episode, maybe it was the first episode.
I think it was.
Of this season, where Reed was talking to whoever, and he said he did not like the idea of them being there, because that's his thing. Right. Security is his thing.
But it's Reed's problem. It's not really anything Hayes did.
But it wasn't really mentioned much after that.
No, not really, because I think we only saw Stephen Culp like one more time until
we would see Makos, but they were always extras.
Yeah.
And Yeah. I mean, there was not only Hayes, but that other guy, that Asian guy,
Right.
who is a recognizable character actor in his own right. And he was in one episode and never saw him again.
Yeah. Well, unless we're surprised and he shows up again. But
Okay.
yeah, I think you're right. Daniel Day Kim. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. He's the Asian actor in 90s and early 2000s television.
He's in a lot. He's in a lot of.
Well, he did that one episode of Voyager.
Blink of
then
an
he
eye.
did this, and then he did, what was it? Crusade. It was one of the Babylon 5 like spin-off shows.
Right.
Yeah, he was like the guy for a little while there.
Is he not still the guy?
I haven't seen him in
Okay.
a long time. I like him. He's got a quality.
Sure.
But no,
That's why I kept on showing up.
Oh, for sure.
So.
But no, I haven't seen him in a while. But I don't watch a lot of modern day TV. It's a lot of garbage.
Yeah, well, it's totally a different landscape.
That's what I'm saying. So he may be on something. You know,
Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe he's on.
I mean, isn't that usually the case where when it comes to certain actors, it's somebody that we used to see a lot of in maybe the 90s, and then all of a sudden it felt like we didn't see them anymore. And then we'll look up on IMDb and it says they've been working consistently
Just
and
not what
things
we're
that we've
watching.
never seen. You're like, what
Yeah.
is this? I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
And it could be like, oh, they're doing a lot of TV now, or they're doing this Netflix series. I'm like, well, I don't know.
No. Yeah. Absolutely.
But the Hayes and Reed plot was its culmination was good. I mean, that was a knockdown, drag out fight, and the way it culminated inside Archer's office was a good way of putting a nice fine point on it.
Oh yeah.
And you know, it brought some lightness to the end of the fight. You know, did he dismiss us? I don't know. Like, okay, now we can laugh, we can relax again. But at least
you feel like Archer came on too strong
no,
in that.
no, I don't think so. I mean, he had two, but they're supposed to be professionals, and they resulted to going to blows.
Yeah.
And he's got a point. They were acting like 5-year-olds, but sometimes, you know, guys have to get their aggression out, and that's the only way they know how to do it. It's like, well, okay. And it's all done after that. Like, there's no more fighting between the two of them after that.
Right.
At least not physically. I mean, that part's done.
I would have
So,
liked to
I
have
like
seen
that.
Archer play it a little more cool, a little more Kirk style in Trouble with Tribbles. You know, just kind of like walk.
With Chekhov?
Yeah,
Like,
just
I
like,
don't know, sir.
Who started it? Yeah, I don't know, sir. You know, and like Archer's no dummy. You know, and I think it would have spoken a little more to his character had he.
But he's not Kirk.
No, he's not Kirk. But had he said and done the things that a captain needs to say in the moment, but then just go, I trust this is done, boys.
Mhm.
And they go, yes, sir, it's done. All right, get the fuck out. You know, and just leave it. Like, I felt like screaming at them just didn't work for me. Didn't work.
Okay, no, I see your point. Now that you've given me that perspective on it, sure. Perhaps seeing him play it. What if that was the only line of dialogue from him, where he just said, so, looks at their face, okay, so I take it this is resolved now?
This is over now,
This
right?
is now.
Yes, it
Yes,
is,
sir.
Okay.
That would have been interesting, I suppose. Maybe.
Yeah, it could have just been like a hard 30 seconds
Or he's just staring them down.
where he's just looking at them and they're like twitching, like doing.
Yeah, they're like doing the
something,
cat eyes, like back and forth.
and then
They're
all
like,
he says is,
what?
"We're not going to have this conversation again, are we, fellas?" No, sir.
Yeah.
Out. Yeah, that's it. Done. Over.
Okay.
Like, if you think about each captain, how would each captain, our famous captains, handle such a thing?
How would each one?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Like, we know Kirk, he kind of had a scene like that in Trouble with Tribbles, and he played it cool. He only got really offended when he
How would
thought
Picard-
someone talked trash about him.
How would Picard handle it?
That's what I was thinking. I thought Picard would hit them hard below the belt. He'd be like, you know, 2 years in training Starfleet, something. This is how you act.
Mhm.
No one behaves on the Enterprise like this. No one. You know, it would hurt. You know, it would feel like your grandpa taking you down. I feel like Cisco would yell at first, and then he'd calm down. Because that's what Cisco's smart like that. He does what the captain has to do, and then he would go, "Now, you two, and they would feel threatened. Like,
Right.
oh, he's going to hit me now. And they'd go, okay, yeah, we don't want to deal with you again. And Janeway wouldn't even get up. She would sit at her chair and go, I'm disappointed in both of you. I am so disappointed. And they'd go, but no, it's not a discussion. I am so disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
Dismissed. Yeah.
Well, if there was any other rewriting, would you drop the alien part?
Yes.
You would completely. Or would you make it a little bit more interesting? I thought maybe there would have been a way if perhaps, because the other plots, it was personal.
Yeah.
That alien was just a threat to the ship.
Right.
So maybe if it was made a little bit more personal, maybe towards one person, maybe Archer.
Probably Archer. Yeah. If you were to keep him, yes. That's what I was saying earlier. Just make something about him more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
But just like when even though obviously it's not who they're going to give this to, but the what was the episode? The trip pregnant.
Oh,
Unexpected. Casting Andreas Katsouladis as the alien captain that Archer bonds with.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they only cut back to them a couple times.
Wait. That's not Unexpected. That's
it is.
No. Unexpected is where Trip gets pregnant.
Yeah, that's what.
No, Andrew Katsouladis was.
Oh,
you're thinking of
the
cogenitor.
The girl cogenitor.
Yeah, that's what you're thinking of.
They only cut back probably to them the same amount of times they cut back to this alien, but bam, chemistry's there between the two of them. It's just in finding that right person, I think, and maybe they could have made a connection with rather than.
Well, we
Archer.
didn't know anything about what this thing was.
No,
it was just
didn't.
Some guy.
No, for sure. Maybe if they had made Archer less aggressive and more trying to be understanding, maybe the guy could have connected, and then have him turn out to be a bad guy would be a betrayal.
I mean, there was a buildup in terms of, well, this guy is related to the spheres, the Xindi in some way, but it was all rather kind of vaguely connected, unlike these other plot lines which we had seen kind of layered through the various episodes. So there was a payoff with this. It just felt a little kind of tacked on or tacked in, whichever.
Definitely.
I don't know if I would remove it. Yeah, completely.
It does serve as a good editing thing to drop in to separate those other plots.
Well, and it brings the ship needs to be in danger in some way.
Yeah.
I mean, they were basically, it looked like a giant Jello mold that they had run into. We hadn't mentioned that yet. I think it was. I think they said it was some kind of it was like a combination of distortions or
like
something.
A whole bunch of them were clumped together.
Yeah. And I mean, all I saw when looking at it, I was like, this looks like the inside of Martin Short or something. I don't know what they were trying to pull off with that, but that's what it looks like.
Right.
That is okay. It was just a little, it felt like filler in some parts.
Yeah.
But not entirely boring. Like I just said, it wasn't like the final mission with the garbage scow leaking radiation. That's filler. Don't need that at all. Whenever it cuts to that part, I'm like, okay, I'll come back later. But I really did like this episode a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Would you like to rate it, or would you like to?
Sure, we can rate it.
I think this is definitely an A episode, but having talked it out, I think that plot line of the alien was a little too, like I said, felt too much like filler. So I'm going to give it an A-.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
A-.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not a bad score.
Not at all.
I don't think we've had an A this season, but we haven't had an A+. I think we've only given a few A+ throughout our whole. I think we gave an A+ to. I know for sure we gave an A+ to Doctors. Doctor something.
Yeah, the one with Phlox. Yeah.
What is that? What am I trying?
I don't know.
With the two alien species and breaking the Prime Directive they don't have yet. Whatever.
It is Doctor something or something Doctor.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Dear Doctor.
There you go. Yeah, that one we gave an A+ to.
Yeah.
And probably another one, but can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, A- is perfectly good score.
Oh, yeah.
So I think the next episode has the word doctor in it.
I'm looking right now.
Because
Doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders. Yeah, that's what is that one about?
Let's see. Dr. Phlox and T'Pol guide the ship through an area of dangerous space while the rest of the crew are comatose. Oh, it's a remake of that Voyager episode.
Oh, that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Of one.
Which ironically is directed by
The same guy.
Roxanne Dawson.
Oh, it's called One, right? From Voyager.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I think I remember that episode being all right. We'll see though.
Yeah. I think I remember some of the twists.
Yeah. I mean, I remember the twist, but
yeah,
I remember enjoying that one. Okay. Well, it's something to look forward to. We have not heard from anybody this week. So I have no email to read. But thanks for sticking with us. If you have, I know some of our release dates have been kind of spotty and sometimes we've missed a week just because we've been busy.
Yeah.
But we're still plugging away. I mean, we're at the halfway. No, we're over halfway through this.
We're over halfway.
How many more episodes do we have left? This was 15, right? So
yeah, 16 is next. Let's see. This season has 24.
Okay. So we're over the halfway mark. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're getting there. Plugging away. All right. So if you'd like to write in, please do. It's podcastnx01@gmail.com. It may take me, I don't always get back to you right away, but I will. Please do write in and we'll include your email in the show. Write whatever you like. Love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Or rate us on Apple Podcasts. Excuse me. So doctor's orders.
Doctor's orders.
See you then.
All right.